John, normally we're here with you for twos in training, but we can't really call it that. This is yearlings in training. We loved your perspective. Tell us a little bit about how you do it differently.
It's kind of been a product of my environment. Some was when I worked for Delvin Miller. He always was anxious to buy something at the sale. He wanted to see what he had. Then when I went home, had our own farm, little bit for time constraints, manpower, all that sort of stuff. So when I bought a yearling, I started figuring out a way that I could do it. And same this year, we have the luxury that I had at home. Had nice big paddocks, had a center field that was wide open. You look here at Southern Oaks, we got a wide open center field. We got big old paddocks out there. The horses get time, they get all the piss and vinegar out of them. They run in the morning before I do anything. So when the horses arrive here, depending on where they're coming from, how long of a ship they had, and what time they get here, either later that morning or the very next morning, we'll go through the ones that came out of Lexington. We went through, we fitted 13 harnesses and bridles to them. The next day, we put the harnesses back on them and line drove them from down where the shavings pile is up onto the racetrack, made a left, made a right, come around, another left, hook them and go. I'll take them with one person with me, and the second day usually I go solo with a third line. You seen today was the third day on a lot of them was solo with the third line, but
and your third line is different because I actually, walking up through here, I yelled to Aaron and said, "Where's the third line?" And he said, "It's behind him." And I said, "No, I mean the person. I've never seen it where it's just the line."
But I use it as a steering device, or if I get in trouble, if one shies from the water truck or something, I don't want to go off the deep end, or they shy to come off the track, and I can grab that and use it as a steering if they want to be a little fussy with their mouth. But I hook them and go right away. They're tired when they come off the truck. I don't line drive them much, just simply from the fact that their whole life, I could never understand, their whole life they've been taught to lead. So we get the horses down here, put a harness on them, and everybody used to say, line drive them until they stop, they turn, they do this, they do that. So the very first day you ever line drive one, the horses are going to be anxious, they're going to want to rear up, they're going to want to take off. You'll have a guy on each side and a guy on the lines. They're getting confusing signals. This guy's trying to steer this way, this guy's pulling that way. And then finally, maybe after 2 days or a week, you've taught them to go away from you, but only to walk. So what's the next thing you do? You bring them in, you put a cart on them, and you want them to go. They're like, for the last week, you taught me to walk.
Right.
Now I'm confused. It's just, usually the horse's inclination is to go. I can ride as fast as they're gonna go. I mean, if we sense one's kicking or got a deal, maybe we'll line drive them the second day. But where are they gonna get hurt? And you put 3 people on a jog cart and they do something wrong, you got 3 chances to get 3 people hurt. If I can bail off or do something, I'm not running into somebody, you're not gonna stop a horse from doing something if they're gonna do it. And they've been handled so much. That's the thing, with the homebreds. If I get a homebred, we may wait a week before we put a harness on them, but when we put a harness on them, we do the same schedule. We just hook, we go. I can't say there's a right way and a wrong way. It's what works for you. It's the same as buying these things. I mean, when they leave the sale, there's horses that I turned down that somebody else bought, and somebody else bought, or I bought what somebody else turned down probably. And when you leave a sale, are you the smartest guy because you picked that horse out? Or are you the dumbest person of 1,000 people at the sale? Nobody else thought that horse was as much. So it's the same with breaking. It's what's worked for me.
When you're putting the harness on, you have one person in there doing it. It's kind of not where some stables you see you have a bunch of people in there. Tell me about the process.
Horses get nervous. More people around, more things can go wrong, more signals they're getting. The very first day we put the harness on them, we take the feed tubs and water buckets out. Me and Lindsay, or Tyler and Lindsay, or me and Tyler, or whatever. 2 people will go in, one will hold the horse. Let them sniff the harness, let them sniff the buxton. Gradually introduce it to them. When you pick their tail up underneath the crupper, if you grab right up underneath the tail with your hand, let them put the tail down so they're feeling that pressure instead of just slamming. You just go slow. And everything, if you notice on all mine, everything's loose. Crupper's loose, belly band's loose, long over check. That was an Amy Choquette thing when I worked for Delvin. You don't want to put somebody tight, claustrophobic. Let them have their space, let them do it. And they still go that way. Croupers are dangling and everything, and it works for me. So we'll put the harness on, fasten the buckskin, step out of the stall, let them do what they want to do. If they're bucking and kicking, let them do that. They might squeal. Next thing I'll do is I'll throw a flake of hay in. That way they got to put their head down when they go to eat. It's cinching up around their belly is expanding, so they get to feel the girth, and it's pulling up on the crouper. And all of a sudden, they don't mind. If they want to eat, they're going to get used to that. Go in 5 minutes later, put a bridle on, let them walk in the stall for 20, 25 minutes, pull everything off. Next day, repeat the process. And these ones here, it's third day. They've been in the cross ties. They came from the sale. They've been handled. It's easier for a horse to trust one person than it is to have 3 people in there. My biggest pet peeve is I make sure if you watch every horse, one side of the shaft does not get hooked or nothing gets hooked until whoever's jogging has the lines in their hand. Once the lines are in the hand, the cart can come down. People snap on both sides, try not to make a lot of noise, and move off. Same thing when the horse comes in. Whoever comes in, don't hang those lines up. Cart comes off, somebody wheels the cart away, hang the lines up, then you can hand the horse off. How many times have I seen where horses or people got in trouble? They hang the lines up, somebody unsnaps one side of the cart, horse spooks, now the cart's flopping around, you got no control. If you got the lines in your hand, get the cart, get things out of the way, you got control. Always make sure safety first, you got control.
The patience part, we see that you've done so well. What is the most frustrating point about this part of the year?
That I don't get to golf as much as I want to. Actually, this is a good time of the year. I guess the worst part about this time of the year is it don't last longer.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. It's exciting to see what you have. Any aggravation might come from one that isn't performing as well as you'd like to see. If you x-ray one and you find something that a horse that you really liked and they have a defect, and that can be a little bit heartbreaking there. If you got one that isn't wanting to trot the way you want to see him trot, or you got one that doesn't want to pace, that can be a little frustrating or aggravating because everybody's got high hopes and it's all anticipation. So
we always say that they're in preschool now. How fast, obviously, when we're here in April interviewing you, they've gone on to what grade and how fast are they progressing and things like that. Explain to us kind of how.
Usually have it in my mind, other than the horses that have OCD surgeries, and I do my OCD surgeries after the horses have been broke, not before. And I want them going. When the OCDs come out, they go on a little different program. They'll be stalled for a couple days, hand walked for a couple days. After that, I hook them to the cart. Instead of trying to hand walk them, I've got more control on a flat surface. If they're walking up and down in this sand and they're jumping around, trying to get away from the groom, they're spinning, they're twisting. The majority of OCDs are on their hind legs, hocks, stifles, ankles. That horse is twisting and turning. That's putting undue pressure. Take them out. I can walk them a half a mile. I can walk them a mile, hook to the cart. They've been broke, they've been mannered. They're on a flat surface. They say 3 to 4 weeks after surgery, you can put them out in a small paddock. I don't care if it's a small paddock or not. First thing the horse is going to do, they're going to rear up on their hind legs and they're going to twist, turn. Again, more pressure on their joints. What do we do? If they jog a mile, I'm not saying anything, but they jog a mile. They don't have to jog fast, but they can be going again. You have knee replacement surgery, you have shoulder surgery. Take your knee, you're out of the operating room at 10 o'clock. At 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, there's a physical therapist in your room and they're bending your knee. They're working it. Right. I don't want them standing in a stall to recover, and I don't want them to hurt themselves by doing something. Okay. It's just, I don't know. I don't know if you can equate human medicine to equine medicine, but it's worked for me. Things that are here, regardless if they were Harrisburg or whatnot, I want to be jogging approximately 3 miles, at least 3 miles a day by the 1st of December, and have the pacers and hobbles and all that. It's easier, they're on there quicker now. Through December, I increased their jogging by half a mile a week. So if they're jogging 3 miles, then it's 3.5, then it's 4, then 4.5. And then we incrementally will brush them along, show them a little speed. Right now there's just the 2 of us here. Tyler will be coming down, Rex will be coming down, Tall Man will be coming down. We'll put them in groups of 5 and we'll brush them. We'll brush them an eighth, we'll brush them a quarter, slow them up, brush them a little bit. And then after the first of the year, if they're up to jogging 4.5, 5 miles and they've brushed quarters, 42 to 45 seconds, they ought to be able to handle going a half a mile at a 3-minute clip. A couple weeks into January, you ought to be able to go a mile with them somewhere between 2:50 and 3 minutes. And then it's just up to the horse. It's exciting to see what you have. You get them behind the shaft, get them between the shafts, you get behind them and see what they are. You know, and it's like you've been to the farms, you've watched them turned out, you've watched their videos, you've bought them. Now let's see what we got. And it puts a smile on your face. Go, oh, maybe I did something right, you know, and then the aggravating part comes when they start having some problems, either with their gait or soreness or don't show the ability. But right now, everybody's fresh, everybody's happy, and you get to see what it is. Plus, if there is a little bit of a rodeo, it's not stale. Every day, right now, every day, even though things are going really well, it's new, you know. I'm excited to sit behind him, but I also want to see him go. Like, 'cause when Lindsay's out here now with some of these, I haven't got a chance to really see him go from the side. So it's just the newness. I mean, it's like if you buy a new car, or you buy a new truck, or you buy a new boat, you know, buy a new set of golf clubs. You want to go out, you want to try them out. It's the same thing. We bought horses. Let's go try them out.
John, if we had you place the names of your top 8 horses in an envelope right now, and we open them in April when we speak to you again, would it be the same horses?
Oh, no. I'd hope that they would be, but no. Our opinion, the owners always ask me, rate these horses, do this, do that. If you ask the grooms or you ask me, it's going to be based on how they're behaving, how they've acclimated to being jogged, and how they're gaited. And it's going to end up having nothing to do with their attitude or their ability. So as the season progresses, some of them with good attitude that are good gaited now, we'll keep that, and they're well-mannered horses, we'll keep that with them. And I've had some perfectly gaited, perfectly mannered, slow horses, you know, so your opinion, my opinion will change and what'll happen, and it's week to week, you know, and they all progress at a different rates. As long as they're making a progression, some horses you'll see day to day, some week to week, some month to month. Those month to month ones, you can be really frustrated and aggravated with because you don't think they're keeping up with the rest. But a month ago they were here and now they're here. So what we have in an envelope today will most likely be different.
So what I would like you to do is try that. I'd like you to just as a little game for us, let's do an envelope now. Let's do a secret envelope then. Let's see after first baby races, so we can be able to check in next year. But thank you for allowing us to come join you today and talk about yearlings in training. And we'll be able to follow it all when we catch back up with John in March or April for 2s in training. Thank you, John.
You're welcome. Thank you.